The ancient crystal chambers pulsed with a soft blue light as data streams flowed through the monitoring stations. For millions of years, the Ancient Ones had watched over the galaxy from these halls, observing the rise and fall of countless civilizations. Today, however, something different caught their attention. Energy spike detected in Sector 7B, announced first observer Killian, their crystalline form shifting colors in excitement. Pattern unknown. The High Council chamber, carved from living crystal deep within their homeworld, hummed with activity as more Ancient Ones gathered to observe the anomaly. They had seen many species take their first steps into space, but these energy readings were unlike anything in their vast databases. Meanwhile, unaware they were being watched, the human fleet moved through the darkness of space with purpose. The USN Thunderchild led the formation, its massive engines pushing against the void. On the bridge, Commander Robert Nash stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the stars through the main viewport. "All ships reporting ready, Commander," said Lieutenant Amy Blackwood from her tactical station. "The Valiant and Stormbreaker are maintaining formation at our flanks." Nash nodded, his gray eyes reflecting the starlight. This was humanity's first major expedition beyond known space, and he felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Earth had only achieved faster-than-light travel 30 years ago, but they had made incredible progress since then. "Engineering reports the quantum drives are running at optimal efficiency," came the voice of John Reynolds over the comm. "We can maintain this speed for another 3 weeks without strain." The bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, each person focused on their tasks. They were the best Earth had to offer, chosen from thousands of candidates for this historic mission. Their ships carried the most advanced technology humans had ever created, a combination of raw power and elegant engineering that had taken decades to perfect. In the Ancient One's observation chamber, more energy signatures appeared on their monitors. 3 vessels, reported Second Observer Maris. "Their design is primitive, yet their energy output is remarkable for such a young species." Another group of newcomers, dismissed Elder Vaxson, their form glowing with a slight tinge of boredom. "They will either learn and grow, or destroy themselves, as all young races do." But First Observer Killian wasn't so quick to dismiss the readings. "These energy patterns, they're using quantum field manipulation in ways we've never seen before. Their approach is unorthodox, but effective." Back on the Thunderchild, the crew prepared for their first planned stop. They were approaching an uncharted star system that their long-range scans had identified as potentially habitable. "Beginning deceleration," announced Linda Carter from navigation. "Quantum field stable and responding normally." Nash watched as the stars shifted around them, their quantum drive bending space in ways that would have seemed impossible just a few decades ago. The 3 ships moved as one, their formation perfect despite the enormous distances involved. "Picking up something interesting," Kevin Wright called from the science station, his fingers dancing over the holographic controls. "Large structure in orbit around the second planet. Definitely artificial, but no power signatures." Nash leaned forward, interest piqued. "Put it on the main screen." The image that appeared showed what looked like an ancient space station, its surface covered in intricate patterns that seemed to glow faintly in the starlight. The structure was massive, easily dwarfing their ships. In the Ancient One's chamber, alarm rippled through the gathered observers. They found one of the Cedar's cradles. Maris announced, their crystalline form flashing with concern. "No young species has ever discovered one intact before." "Perhaps we should intervene," suggested Elder Vaxson, but Killian raised a limb in objection. "Let us watch. How they handle this discovery will tell us much about them." On the Thunderchild, Nash had already organized an investigation team. "Full sensor sweep," he ordered. "Let's be thorough but careful. We don't want to damage anything of historical significance." The next few hours were filled with careful scans and data collection. The human ships maintained a respectful distance, while their sensors mapped every detail of the ancient structure. "Sir," called Wright from his station, excitement clear in his voice. You need to see this. The patterns on the surface, they're not decorative. There's some kind of script, and it's similar to fragments we found in other systems. Nash moved to the science station, studying the data with intense interest. Can we decode it? Already working on it, Wright replied, pulling up more displays. Our AI is comparing it to every known language pattern in our database. The Ancient Ones watched with growing fascination as the humans methodically studied the cedar's cradle. Their approach was different from other young species who had stumbled upon ancient artifacts. Where others had tried to claim or exploit such discoveries, these humans seemed more interested in understanding them. Their restraint is unexpected, Killian observed. Most young races would have already attempted to board the structure. They are cautious, agreed Maris. Yet their technology suggests they could force entry if they wished. Interesting. After several hours of careful study, the human ships had gathered an impressive amount of data without disturbing the ancient structure. Nash called a meeting of his senior staff to discuss their findings. What we found here could revolutionize our understanding of galactic history, Wright explained to the gathered officers. This structure is at least 1 million years old, possibly much older. The engineering principles involved in its construction are far beyond our current understanding. And we're certain it's safe to remain in the area? Nash asked, always mindful of his crew's safety. All scans indicate the structure is dormant, Lieutenant Blackwood reported. No signs of defensive systems or active power sources, but we're maintaining our distance and keeping our shields at full strength, just in case. The Ancient Ones continued their observation, their interest growing with each passing hour. These humans were showing a remarkable combination of curiosity and caution, technology and restraint. Perhaps, Killian suggested to the council, we should prepare for the possibility of contact. These ones might be different. As if in response to Killian's words, the human ship's sensors suddenly lit up with new readings. A massive energy surge emanated from the ancient structure, its dormant patterns beginning to glow with increasing intensity. All hands to stations, Nash ordered, his voice calm despite the situation. Maintain formation but increase distance to safe margin. Let's see what happens. The Ancient Ones watched as the humans handled the activation of the cedar's cradle with remarkable composure. No panic, no rash actions, just careful, measured responses to each new development. Most interesting indeed, Killian observed, their crystalline form glowing brightly. Perhaps it's time we took a closer look at these thunder-bearing ships of man. As the ancient structure awakened, neither the humans nor the Ancient Ones realized that this moment would mark the beginning of a relationship that would change the galaxy forever. The thunder-bearing ships of humanity had announced their presence to the cosmos, and the cosmos was starting to pay attention. Commander Nash stood on his bridge, watching the ancient station come to life, unaware that they too were being watched. Humanity's first steps into the greater galaxy had been taken, and they had already shown themselves to be unlike anything the Ancient Ones had seen before. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter that day, as two civilizations, one ancient and wise, one young and bold, prepared to meet for the first time. The peaceful study of the ancient station was shattered by an urgent alert from the USN Valiant. Commander Nash, 3 ships just dropped out of quantum space. They're heading straight for the trading station in Sector 4. Nash turned sharply toward his tactical officer. Lieutenant Amy Blackwood's fingers were already flying over her console, bringing up detailed scans of the approaching vessels. Pirates, she said grimly. Same energy signatures as the ones who hit the Centauri colonies last month. They're charging weapons. The neutral trading station they were approaching was a busy hub of commerce, home to over 3,000 beings from various species. It was exactly the kind of target pirates loved to hit, wealthy enough to be worth raiding, but far enough from major powers to be vulnerable. In the crystalline chambers of the Ancient Ones, the observers watched with growing interest. Now we shall see how these humans handle conflict. First observer Killian noted, their form shifting to a deeper blue. Most young species either flee from such dangers or rush in foolishly. Commander Nash's response was immediate and measured. Lieutenant Blackwood, combat coordinates to all ships. Stormbreaker, move to protect the trading station. Valiant, right flank. Will take point. The three human ships moved with practiced precision, their formations shifting smoothly. The pirates, expecting easy prey, suddenly found themselves facing an organized military force. Warning shot across their bow. Nash ordered, "Let's see if they're smart enough to back down." The Thunderchild's main railgun spoke, sending a hypersonic round past the lead pirate vessel. The shot's passage was marked by a crack of artificial thunder as it broke the sound barrier in space, a unique quirk of human weapons technology that had given their ships their nickname. In the Ancient One's chamber, several observers flashed colors of surprise. Their weapons technology, Second Observer Maris noted with interest. They're using kinetic energy weapons enhanced with quantum fields. Primitive in concept, yet the execution is remarkable. The pirates, however, were not impressed by the warning shot. They split up, trying to flank the human vessels. Their first volley of plasma bolts splashed harmlessly against the Thunderchild's shields. "Return fire," Nash commanded. "Disable their engines if possible. We want prisoners to question." What followed was a display of combat prowess that had the Ancient One's full attention. The human ships moved with a fluid grace that belied their size, their coordinated fire patterns showing years of tactical evolution. Lieutenant Blackwood's voice was steady as she coordinated the attack. "Valiant, target their port engines. Stormbreaker, keep them from reaching the station. We'll handle their flagship." The pirates found themselves caught in a deadly dance. When they tried to retreat, the human ships predicted their quantum jump points and cut them off. When they tried to fight, they faced weapons that hit harder than anything they'd encountered before. "Fascinating," Elder Vaxun commented, their crystalline form pulsing with excitement. "Their tactical algorithms are adapting in real time. They're learning from each enemy movement." The battle reached its climax when one of the pirate ships made a desperate run at the trading station, hoping to use the civilians as hostages. Lieutenant Blackwood had anticipated this move. "Target locked," she announced. "Permission to execute Maneuver 7. Nash nodded. "Do it." The Thunderchild executed a series of precise quantum jumps, appearing at seemingly random points around the pirate vessel. Each jump was accompanied by a perfectly timed railgun shot, the thunder of their passage creating a rolling boom through space. The pirate ship shields collapsed under the assault, their engines going dark. "Most impressive," Killian observed. "They didn't destroy the vessel, merely disabled it." And their concern for the civilian station never wavered. The remaining pirate ships, seeing their companion disabled and their escape routes cut off, surrendered. The entire battle had lasted less than 15 minutes. Nash immediately organized rescue teams to check on the trading station. "Any casualties?" he asked. "None, sir," reported John Reynolds from engineering. "We stopped them before they could do any real damage. Station authorities are sending their thanks." The Ancient Ones watched as the human ships efficiently secured the area, detained the pirates, and provided assistance to the trading station. Their actions showed not just military prowess, but a deep concern for civilian life and property. "These humans," Elder Vaxen mused, "they are warriors, yes, but disciplined ones. Their power is tempered with restraint. And their technology," added Maris, "while young, shows remarkable innovation. Those quantum-enhanced kinetic weapons shouldn't work as well as they do. They found new approaches we never considered." In the aftermath of the battle, Nash met with his officers to discuss what they'd learned. The pirates' presence this far out was concerning, but they'd gained valuable intelligence from the encounter. "Good work, everyone," Nash said to his crew. "Especially you, Lieutenant Blackwood. That targeting solution was perfect." Blackwood nodded modestly. "The new quantum predictive algorithms worked better than expected. We should send the combat data back to Earth for analysis." The Ancient Ones continued their observation, but their attitude had shifted. What they'd first seen as merely another young species had shown itself to be something more. The humans' combination of innovation, discipline, and compassion was unusual for a race so young. Perhaps, Killian suggested to the council, it is time we moved beyond mere observation. These humans have shown themselves worthy of closer study. Agreed, said Elder Vaxon. They handle both discovery and combat with equal grace. Their thunder-bearing ships have proven themselves more than simple weapons of war. On the Thunderchild, Nash stood at his viewport, watching as repair crews helped the trading station restore full power. He couldn't have known that his ship's actions had just earned humanity the respect of beings who had watched over the galaxy since before Earth had oceans. "Sir," called Lieutenant Blackwood, "we're picking up some unusual readings, similar to the ones from the ancient station, but different somehow." Nash turned from the viewport, unaware that the Ancient Ones had decided to make their presence known. The thunder-bearing ships of humanity had proven themselves, and now they would face their greatest discovery yet. The galaxy was about to witness the meeting of its oldest civilization with its most innovative newcomers, and nothing would ever be quite the same again. The space around the Thunderchild lit up with shimmering patterns of light. The crew watched in amazement as a massive ship emerged from what looked like a curtain of starlight. Its surface was made of the same crystal-like material they had seen on the ancient station, but this vessel was clearly active and powerful. "All hands to stations," Commander Nash ordered calmly, "but keep weapons powered down. Let's not start a fight if we don't have to." Lieutenant Blackwood studied her readings with wide eyes. "Sir, the energy output from that ship, it's like nothing we've ever seen. Our sensors can barely measure it." In the Ancient One's ship, High Observer Zixel prepared to meet these interesting newcomers. Their crystalline form shifted through various colors as they considered their approach. "Remember," Elder Vaxon advised, "these humans have shown both strength and wisdom. They deserve respect, despite their youth." The Ancient One's ship sent out a communication signal. On the Thunderchild's bridge, Chief Engineer John Reynolds worked quickly to decode it. "They're requesting permission to send over a delegation, sir," he reported. "Their technology is incredibly advanced, but they're being very polite about it." Nash straightened his uniform. "Grant permission. Have Captain Sharon Martinez and the engineering team meet me in the main conference room. Lieutenant Blackwood, maintain watch but keep things friendly." The arrival of the Ancient Ones was unlike anything the humans had seen before. A sphere of light appeared in their conference room, and from it emerged beings that seemed to be made of living crystal. They moved with fluid grace, their forms changing colors as they moved. "Greetings, Thunderbearers," High Observer Zixel spoke, their form glowing with a warm blue light. "We are the Ancient Ones, and we have watched your actions with great interest." Nash stepped forward, maintaining his composure despite his amazement. "Welcome aboard the USN Thunderchild. I am Commander Robert Nash, and we are explorers from Earth." Captain Martinez and John Reynolds stood nearby, their eyes taking in every detail of these remarkable beings. Reynolds couldn't help but pull out his scanner, his engineer's curiosity getting the better of him. The Ancient Ones noticed this, and, surprisingly, seemed pleased. "Your desire to learn is admirable," Zixel said. "Please, study us as we study you. Knowledge should flow both ways." What followed was an exchange that would be remembered in human history for centuries to come. The Ancient Ones shared stories of their millions of years of watching over the galaxy, while the humans explained their rapid rise from a planet-bound species to space explorers. "Your approach to quantum mechanics is unique," one of the Ancient Ones said, watching Reynolds explain their engine design. "You use brute force in ways we never considered, yet you achieve remarkable results." Reynolds grinned. "Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. We couldn't match your level of technology, so we found our own way to make things work." In the ship's engineering section, the Ancient Ones were particularly fascinated by the humans' quantum drive. While their own ships used pure energy manipulation, Humans had combined physical engineering with quantum effects. You actually use mechanical parts in your quantum systems, an Ancient One engineer asked, their form flickering with surprise. Sure do, Reynolds explained. We couldn't figure out how to make pure energy drives work, so we combined traditional engineering with quantum fields. Not as elegant as your method, but it gets the job done. The Ancient One's surprise turned to admiration as they realized how many unique solutions humans had developed. Where the Ancient Ones had perfected a single path over millions of years, humans had found dozens of new approaches in just a few decades. Captain Martinez led another group through the ship's tactical systems. Our railguns use quantum fields to enhance the kinetic impact, she explained. The thunder effect is actually a side benefit we discovered by accident. Remarkable, Zixel commented. You turn what others would see as a flaw into an advantage. The sound alone must be quite intimidating to enemies. In the medical bay, the Ancient Ones were equally impressed by human innovation. The ship's doctor showed them how they had combined traditional medicine with quantum healing techniques. We can't manipulate energy as precisely as you can, the doctor explained. So we use quantum fields to enhance our existing medical tools. It's not as advanced as your methods, but it works for us. The Ancient Ones' initial pride in their advanced technology began to shift to genuine respect for human ingenuity. These young beings had found entirely new ways to solve problems that the Ancient Ones had thought could only be solved one way. You must understand, Zixel said to Nash as they observed their teams working together. We have watched many species develop over millions of years, but few have shown your ability to find new paths to old solutions. Nash nodded. Humans have always been good at that. When we can't go over an obstacle, we go around it or under it, or sometimes right through it. We make up for our limitations with creativity. The day of exchange continued, with both sides learning from each other. The Ancient Ones shared some of their basic technical knowledge, while the humans demonstrated their unique approaches to various challenges. Your species is young, Elder Vaxon told Nash near the end of the visit, but you have shown wisdom beyond your years. Your thunder-bearing ships are a perfect example, taking simple physics and enhancing it in ways we never imagined. As the Ancient Ones prepared to leave, Zixel made an unexpected offer. We would like to establish a permanent exchange of knowledge with your people, not to guide you. You have proven you can find your own path, but to share what each of us knows. Nash smiled. We would be honored. There's so much we could learn from each other. The Ancient Ones departed as mysteriously as they had arrived, leaving the human crew with a sense of wonder and achievement. They had not only met one of the oldest species in the galaxy, but had earned their respect. Well, Reynolds said, looking at his readings from the encounter, I guess sometimes the new kids on the block can teach the old-timers a thing or two. Nash looked out at the stars, thinking about what this meeting meant for humanity's future. We've opened a door today, he said. Now let's see where it leads. The thunder-bearing ships of humanity had done more than just impress the Ancient Ones. They had shown that there was always room for new ideas, even in a galaxy as old as time itself. The alarms on both human and Ancient One ships went off at the same time. Science Officer Kevin Wright's face turned pale as he looked at his readings on the Thunderchild's bridge. Commander Nash, something's wrong with the local star, he said, his voice tense. Its core is becoming unstable. This shouldn't be happening for another million years. On the Ancient One's crystalline vessel, similar concerns were being raised. High Observer Zixel's form flickered with worried colors as they studied the data. The star's quantum matrix is collapsing, they announced to their council. Our predictions were wrong. The collapse that should have taken millennia is happening now. The star in question sat at the center of a busy sector. 3 inhabited worlds, including a major trading hub, lay in its system. Over 50,000 beings would die if the star went supernova. Commander Nash called an emergency meeting with both human and Ancient One leaders. The conference room was filled with tension as Wright displayed the latest readings. The star's core is burning through its fuel too fast, he explained, pointing to the holographic display. We have maybe 3 days before it goes critical. The Ancient One's forms dimmed with concern. We have a ritual of preservation, Elder Vaxon said. It has saved stars before, but it requires careful preparation and precise energy manipulation. It would take at least 30 days to prepare. Those people don't have 30 days, Nash replied firmly. We need another solution. Navigation specialist Linda Carter had been quiet until now, studying the star's data. What if we tried something different? She asked. Instead of preserving the star, what if we stabilized it? The Ancient Ones turned their attention to her. Explain, Zixel requested. Carter brought up a new display. We've been developing a theory about using antimatter detonations to affect stellar cores. If we set off several charges at precisely the right points, we might be able to shock the core back into stability. Impossible, one of the Ancient Ones declared. The energies involved would be too chaotic to control. Not if we use your quantum field technology to contain and direct the explosions, Wright added, catching on to Carter's idea. Combine our antimatter weapons with your energy control systems. The conference room erupted in discussion. The Ancient Ones had never considered using such brute force methods on something as delicate as stellar manipulation. The humans had never attempted anything on this scale with their technology. It's too risky, Elder Vaxon argued. One miscalculation could accelerate the star's collapse. Riskier than doing nothing, Nash countered. We have to try something. Those are real people out there, and they're all going to die if we don't act. High Observer Zixel studied the humans' calculations. Despite their misgivings, they had to admit the theory was sound, even if the method seemed crude by their standards. You would need perfect timing, Zixel said finally. The quantum fields containing the antimatter would have to be synchronized to within a microsecond. That's why we need your help, Carter explained. Our ships can deliver the antimatter charges, but we need your quantum field expertise to control the reactions. The next few hours were a flurry of activity. Human engineers worked alongside Ancient One energy masters, combining their technologies in ways neither species had imagined before. Chief Engineer Reynolds supervised the modification of their antimatter warheads. We're adding quantum field generators to each charge, he explained to Nash. The Ancient Ones will control the fields, making sure the explosions happen exactly where and when we need them. The Ancient Ones were surprised by how quickly the humans adapted their technology. Your species has an amazing ability to improvise, Zixel commented as they watched the work. We've had a lot of practice, Nash replied with a grim smile. When you're a young species, you learn to work with what you have. As the star grew more unstable, the evacuation of the nearby planets began, but everyone knew they couldn't get all the inhabitants out in time. The modified antimatter charges were their only hope. The Thunderchild and 2 other human ships took up positions around the star, each carrying specially modified antimatter charges. The Ancient One's vessel moved into position to coordinate the quantum fields. All ships report ready, Lieutenant Blackwood announced from Tactical. Nash looked at the angry red star on his view screen. Begin countdown. Remember, we only get one shot at this. The operation required perfect coordination. The human ships would fire their charges into precise points around the star's core. The Ancient Ones would use their quantum fields to contain and direct the antimatter explosions. Charges away, Blackwood reported as the first warheads launched. Everyone watched in tense silence as the charges moved toward their targets. The Ancient One's vessel glowed brightly as it extended its quantum fields to guide the explosions. Impact in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The star's corona lit up with multiple explosions. The Ancient One's quantum fields contained the blast, forcing the energy inward toward the core. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then Wright's console lit up with new readings. Core temperature dropping, he announced excitedly. The shock wave is forcing the plasma back into stable patterns. The Ancient Ones confirmed the readings. The quantum matrix is reestablishing itself, Zixel reported, their form glowing with relief. The star is stabilizing. A cheer went up from the human crews. The Ancient One's colors shifted to bright, happy patterns. Together, they had accomplished something neither species could have done alone. Remarkable. Elder Vaxen said, their initial skepticism completely gone. Your willingness to try new approaches, combined with our ancient knowledge. It seems we both had something to learn here. Nash smiled at the Ancient One elder. That's what humanity does best. We find new ways to solve old problems. And sometimes, we help others see solutions they hadn't considered before. The star continued to stabilize over the next few hours. The evacuation ships turned back, carrying relieved colonists home instead of away. What could have been a terrible tragedy had been averted through the combination of human innovation and Ancient One wisdom. Perhaps, Zixel said to Nash as they watched the star return to normal, this is why the galaxy needs young species like yours. You see possibilities that we, in our ancient wisdom, sometimes forget to consider. The thunder-bearing ships had proven themselves once again, not just through their power, but through their ability to adapt and innovate. The Ancient Ones had gained a new respect for their young allies, and a reminder that even after millions of years, there were still new things to learn. The success of the star stabilization had far-reaching effects that nobody expected. Word spread quickly through the galaxy about how the mysterious Ancient Ones had worked together with a young species to save an entire star system. But more importantly, it forced the Ancient Ones to question their oldest beliefs. In the great crystal chamber of the Ancient Ones' Council, High Observer Zixel stood before the gathered elders. Their form shifted through thoughtful colors as they spoke. For millions of years, we have watched young species grow. We have always believed our way was the only right way. The humans have proven us wrong. Commander Nash and his senior staff had been invited to this historic meeting. They stood respectfully to one side, still amazed by the beautiful crystal architecture around them. Look at their ships, Zixel continued, gesturing to a hologram of the Thunderchild. We called them primitive because they used physical matter and mechanical parts. Yet these thunder-bearing ships can do things our vessels cannot. Elder Vaxun, who had once dismissed the humans, now glowed with agreement. Their solution to the star crisis proved this. While we waited for the perfect solution, they found a way to combine our knowledge with their methods. Science Officer Kevin Wright stepped forward when asked to explain how they had developed their ideas. He kept his words simple and clear, knowing that even the Ancient Ones sometimes struggled with human concepts. We learn by trying new things, Wright explained. When something doesn't work, we try another way. Sometimes the best answer isn't the most elegant one. The Ancient One's chamber filled with murmuring colors as they discussed this idea. They had spent millions of years perfecting their methods, making them more elegant and pure. The idea that a rougher solution might sometimes be better was revolutionary to them. Lieutenant Amy Blackwood demonstrated their tactical systems next. We developed our quantum-enhanced weapons because we couldn't match your pure energy weapons, she explained. So we improved what we had instead of trying to copy you. And that is precisely why they succeed, Zixel told the council. They do not try to be us. They find their own way. On the Thunderchild, Chief Engineer John Reynolds was working with a group of Ancient One engineers. They were fascinated by how humans had combined simple mechanical parts with quantum field technology. Your way of thinking is so different, one of the Ancient Ones said, their crystal form glowing with curiosity. We would never have thought to use physical gears and levers in a quantum drive. Reynolds smiled as he showed them the engine core. Sometimes the old ways work best. We just add new tricks to make them work better. Navigation specialist Linda Carter was having a similar experience with Ancient One scientists. They were studying her calculations from the star crisis, amazed at how she had adapted their quantum field theories to work with human technology. You took our most complex equations and simplified them, an Ancient One scientist said, sounding almost shocked. We thought that was impossible. Sometimes simpler is better, Carter replied. We couldn't handle the complex calculations in real time, so we found shortcuts that worked almost as well. Back in the council chamber, Commander Nash was asked to speak about human innovation. He thought carefully before answering. Humans are young, he admitted. We make mistakes. We try things that don't work. But we learn from every failure, and we're not afraid to try new approaches. Sometimes being young means you don't know something is supposed to be impossible. The Ancient Ones considered this. They had become set in their ways over millions of years, believing their advanced technology was the peak of achievement. Now these young humans were showing them that there were always new paths to explore. Perhaps, Elder Vaxun suggested, we have grown too rigid in our thinking. We have forgotten what it means to experiment, to try new things. The meeting led to an unprecedented decision. The Ancient Ones would establish a permanent exchange program with humanity, but unlike their usual practice of simply teaching younger species, this would be a true exchange of ideas. Your thunder-bearing ships are more than just vessels, Sixel told Nash. They are symbols of a new way of thinking. You have taught us that wisdom can come from youth as well as age. The humans were honored by this trust. Captain Sharon Martinez worked with Ancient One leaders to set up the first exchange projects. They would share their quantum field technology, while humans would share their innovative approaches to engineering and problem-solving. It's funny, Martinez said to Nash as they watched humans and Ancient Ones working together. We came out here hoping to learn from them. And now they're learning from us too. The Ancient Ones began to adopt some human methods, while humans learned to better understand the advanced principles the Ancient Ones had mastered. Together, they created new technologies that neither species could have developed alone. This is how progress should work, Nash said to Sixel as they watched the cooperation. Old wisdom and new ideas, working together. The Ancient Ones' crystal ships began to incorporate some mechanical elements, making them more adaptable. Human ships gained better control over quantum fields, becoming more efficient. But more importantly, both species learned to see things in new ways. We have watched over this galaxy for millions of years, Sixel told Nash. But you have shown us that there is always more to learn, if we are willing to listen. As the exchange program grew, other species began to take notice. The sight of Ancient One ships working alongside the thunder-bearing ships of humanity became a symbol of how wisdom and innovation could work together. The humans had earned more than just the respect of the galaxy's oldest civilization. They had helped them remember the importance of staying young at heart, of always being willing to try new things. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, a star burned steadily in its new stability, a testament to what could be achieved when ancient wisdom and young innovation worked as one. 6 months after the star crisis, the Grand Meeting Hall of Earth's Space Command buzzed with excitement. Representatives from both humanity and the Ancient Ones gathered for a historic ceremony. The thunder-bearing ships that had started this journey now orbited above, their hulls gleaming in Earth's sunlight. Commander Robert Nash stood at attention beside his crew as Chief Diplomat Susan Harper prepared to sign the first official treaty between humanity and the Ancient Ones. The document wasn't just about peace, it was about partnership. High Observer Zixel's crystalline form glowed with warm colors as they addressed the gathering. When we first detected your ships, we thought we would find just another young species taking its first steps into space. Instead, we found teachers as well as students. The treaty signing ceremony was being broadcast across Earth and to every Ancient One outpost. Billions watched as two civilizations, separated by millions of years of development, came together as equals. The galaxy is changing, Susan Harper said in her speech. Not because of our weapons or our technology, but because we showed that age and youth can work together. The thunder of our ships brought not war, but understanding. In the months since the Star Crisis, both civilizations had grown in unexpected ways. Lieutenant Amy Blackwood demonstrated this as she showed visitors the Thunderchild's upgraded systems. We've combined our railgun technology with Ancient One energy fields, she explained. Now our shots can curve around obstacles to hit targets. We still don't fully understand how it works, but it does. The Ancient Ones had changed too. Their crystal ships now incorporated physical backup systems inspired by human engineering. Sometimes the simple solution is the best one, an Ancient One engineer admitted, showing off a mechanical emergency hatch release. John Reynolds had worked closely with the Ancient Ones to develop new technologies. It's amazing, he told Nash during the ceremony. They know so much about pure energy and quantum fields, but they never thought to combine it with basic mechanics. Together, we're creating things neither of us could have imagined. The treaty included several key points that showed how much both sides had learned from each other. The Ancient Ones would share their vast knowledge banks with humanity, but not all at once. They had learned that sometimes struggling to find answers led to better solutions. In return, humanity would share their gift for innovation. Special exchange programs would bring human engineers and scientists to work with Ancient One researchers, encouraging them to look at old problems in new ways. We're not just sharing technology, Susan Harper explained to the gathered crowd. We're sharing ways of thinking. The Ancient Ones teach us the deep mysteries of the universe, while we remind them that there's always a new way to solve an old problem. The changes weren't just in technology. The Ancient Ones had started to rediscover their own sense of wonder. Young Ancient Ones were now encouraged to experiment and try new approaches rather than simply following traditional methods. Watch and learn, but also question and explore, Zixel told a group of young Ancient Ones. Our human friends have reminded us that wisdom comes not just from knowing the old answers, but from seeking new ones. Science officer Kevin Wright had worked with Ancient One scientists to create a new database of shared knowledge. The interesting thing, he said, is how often we find that humans and Ancient Ones discovered the same principles in completely different ways. Now we can learn from both approaches. Navigation specialist Linda Carter showed off the new stellar mapping system they had developed together. The Ancient Ones can sense quantum fluctuations we can't even detect, she explained. But our computer modeling helps them understand what those fluctuations mean. Together, we can predict stellar behavior better than either of us could alone. The treaty also established joint response teams for galactic emergencies. The star crisis had shown how effective they could be together. Ancient One energy mastery combined with human innovation had already helped stabilize two more troublesome star systems. We bring different strengths, Commander Nash said in his speech. The Ancient Ones bring the wisdom of ages and mastery of energy. We bring new perspectives and the willingness to try the impossible. Together, we're stronger than either of us alone. The ceremony reached its peak as Susan Harper and High Observer Zixel signed the treaty. The document was recorded both on traditional paper and in Ancient One crystal matrices, symbolizing the blend of old and new. Let this be remembered, Zixel announced, their form glowing brightly, as the day when the thunder-bearing ships of man helped the Ancient Ones remember that age is no guarantee of wisdom and youth is no barrier to understanding. The crowd cheered as the treaty was made official. Above Earth, the combined fleet of human and Ancient One ships created a spectacular light show. The thunder of human railguns combined with Ancient One energy patterns to paint the sky with color and sound. It's beautiful, Nash said, watching the display. Just like they are, different but complementary. Indeed, Zixel agreed. Who would have thought that the sound of thunder in space would lead to such harmony? As the ceremony concluded, both species looked forward to a future neither had imagined possible before. The Ancient Ones had found new energy and purpose in their role as galactic guardians. Humanity had gained access to knowledge beyond their dreams, while maintaining their innovative spirit. The thunder-bearing ships that had once seemed primitive to the Ancient Ones now stood as symbols of a new age, one where wisdom and innovation worked hand in hand, where the thunder of humanity's weapons had become the herald of peace and understanding. We have existed for millions of years, Zixel told Nash as they watched the celebrations. But thanks to you, we feel young again. Perhaps that is the greatest gift your thunder-bearing ships have brought us." Nash smiled, watching his crew mingle with the Ancient Ones. "And you've taught us that being young doesn't mean we have to learn everything the hard way. Perhaps that's what the galaxy needed all along. A balance between age and youth, wisdom and innovation, thunder and light." The story of the thunder-bearing ships would be told for generations to come, not as a tale of war or conquest, but as proof that in the vast galaxy there was always something new to learn, always a new way forward, if only you were willing to listen to thunder in the void.